Okay, so we've returned here to working more on the silos and stuff for ICBM, getting things kind of back to where they were. I mean, we're not exactly adding new content. We're still doing the same thing of trying to repair what we've are working on. So between the last video, I did go ahead and look into why the packet handling was not working. Basically, we're just missing this method. I thought I had coded the packet handling to handle the node system. I did not, so I'm just going to take the easy way out and I'm just going to implement the system onto the wrapper. It works. I don't need to do anything. That's basically my thought process on it. That should do the trick. Also, I fixed the sentry gun for the client too, so you saw me testing it. Really simple bug. It wasn't reloading the gun. That's as simple as it gets. It wasn't necessarily not reloading the clip. As the clip was being fed into the gun, the sentry gun did believe it had ammo. And when it thinks it has ammo, it will attempt to shoot, but it was not loading the next bullet into the gun to fire. So it would go to fire the weapon. It would go okay, click, and then nothing happens. And that's basically what kind of did. And I didn't hit the right method here, so I forgot I was working on the code generator. I changed the code generator to not add a date and time to the top of my methods anymore. That way I no longer trigger get every time the code generator runs, which is a bit annoying. As right now we're manually running the code generator every time we want to use it. By manually, I've got it automated via the run task. We don't have build scripts yet to run the code generator, and I don't think we ever will actually have build scripts to run the code generator because it's really easy to just compile things. Although we will need to adjust the build scripts to a few things here and there. I'll get to that later though. At the moment I'm too tired to even think about that possibility. Probably not going to make it to my goal of staying awake for most of the day. I'm hopeful, but it's not going to happen. Probably after I do this video, I'm probably just going to take a nap. Unfortunate too, because I actually do want to go play MechWarrior here. I haven't been uploading my MechWarrior videos. I do have like a stash of them. I can actually show this too. Not only do I have a ton of videos here, I've got a stash of videos I want to upload. I don't know when I'm going to get time to upload it. It's really going to be one of those things where, like, if I know my brother's going to be out of the house for a day, I'm just going to queue them all because it's going to take almost a day to upload them all. There's some good ones in there, some bad ones in there. There's ones in there that I literally just want to edit and show particular scenes. Like I ran into a guy that got 8 kills. So we literally had this match where at the end it was 8v1. And this guy killed all 8 of us because of his mech build. And it felt really cheap that he got 8 kills and only did 400 damage. Might note this, which by the way, for those who are not familiar with how MechWarrior works, 400 damage is only slightly above average. If you're seeing somebody with 8 kills, you should expect to see like 1,000, 1,200. What world did I just load into? Ah, I just launched the full... No, I didn't launch the full thing. I didn't launch the world I wanted to load, but it doesn't matter. You can clearly see the sentry guns are working. Yeah, let me go ahead and just show this off. Oh, the textures are working. I'm happy the textures are working. Although I need to hide the guns. So if a gun's marked as a sentry gun, which is what these are up here, these need to disappear. These are down here is what I want to actually see. And I have a feeling I've been running... Oh, I gotta check this real quick. I've been running Minecraft client too for the longest time here. This is the one I actually want to be running. This is the one I have been running. And there is a difference between these. Not too much of a difference, but let me quickly just add something. Run another configuration. Doesn't really matter as long as we set the stuff up properly. I do need to start renaming these though, so... So this will be Minecraft Client Lite. That's what we're gonna start to call it. Or we're gonna... Yeah, just do that. That way I'm not continuously confusing these guys. Because that explains why the load time's been so long recently when it goes to testing things. That's good though. So what we want to test is the right click ability and the packet handling for the launcher. So I'd come down here real quick, get my launcher, and we're gonna place my launcher. So I placed it. Multi-block is still working, so if we break it, it handles itself properly. I need to work on the texture still. Normal right click isn't doing anything. Render is still a bit of a buggy issue. Now, I don't exactly have a plan of what I'm going to do after I fix this though. Yeah, well, at least we know for sure it's not fixed yet. Oh man, those slimes are going to be annoying. Okay. So, remove. Okay, so we know description packet is being sent. Cool. Hit play. Hit play. Packet got called twice. Okay. Okay, that's good. So we know the packet handler runs. Put this missile back in. Okay, come on. There we go. So we know there's a missile in the tube right now. So it is functional. What is probably failing is the listener. I gotta think this through very quickly, and my brain's just not quite there. So this is definitely going to be a short episode because I'm hitting the point of almost exhaustion. Running way too hard this week, trying to keep up with almost everything. It's amazing. I don't have college classes right now, but I've managed to work harder this week than I did the last 2 weeks, which is amazing when you think about it. So it's not a problem with the node. It's not a problem with the block base. Actually, it might be a problem with the block base. I know exactly what's wrong with it. I gotta go from block base again. I need to think of stuff. It's not block base I want, just to make that clear. It is the render system in the client that I need to fix. Yeah, just what I thought. There's no event trigger here, so we want an event trigger here. And the reason why I want to open this is I want to copy this thing. So what we want to do is we want to render the base block first, and we're going to go okay if tile.getBlockType is an instance of block base. And the reason we're checking this is not every tile that passes through here is actually something we need to worry about. So do we not get the world? Huh. I can fix that. Okay, and this needs to be block type. Then what is the render thing called? I'll figure it out here in a second. To be iTileRender. Oh yeah, iTileRender listener. And we'll get the thing is tile render is the key. This actually should be lowercase. I wonder if it actually lowercases things. I'll check that in like 1 second. So be tile x, y, z, and then we have f, which is our frame. We're actually going to want to close this real quick because I need to edit a few things. So we get our frame object here, and I'm using an integer right now for this for some reason. This would be like float f is what this needs to be. I don't know where the frame is coming from, and it probably has something to do with the block system. And IntelliJ won't let me auto-cast this. Okay, this needs to actually be lowercase. This needs to be changed to a lowercase system. Tile render. Go up here and fix that. It means I have to upload the API here in a second. Cannot resolve world x block base string. Oh, these need to actually be something completely different. These actually need to be this because Those x coordinates, by the way, being passed in are actually not the location of the tile in the world. Those are the relative location from the player to render. And we're going to document this real quick. If block base, iterate listeners. So that should fix our thing, is it'll run this, and yeah, this all looks good. We handled our lowercase system here. What else is my brain trying to do? Oh yeah, I gotta hit build here, and this is gonna cause a couple errors. Here we go. This just needs to be changed to floatf. The irony is it's an F down here too, so it's clearly that this is doing its thing, but for some reason it got turned into pass at some point. So floatf. Okay, I can get rid of my error handler. I'm gonna leave this open because we want to make sure this part's working. I don't know why I even have a constructor here. Make project real quick, and cool. And we'll hit debug and launch, and while it's doing its thing, I'm gonna go really quickly change the API. Come on, IntelliJ. Or not IntelliJ, Source Tree. Both these products are made by the same company, by the way, if I recall right. Okay, not exactly the best to script there. That real quick. I think it's all I gotta upload. I think there's only two things I've changed. Yeah, this whole, I mean, Source Tree actually works pretty well. It's not a horrible product, but the amount of abuse I give it, because I mean, you got like how many projects I got loaded up. It was not designed for this. And unfortunately, I am running it through its maximum. I'm gonna close a couple of this. That way I can navigate a little easier. And we just wait for it to launch. I can sit here and drink my tea. Tea. Green tea for those who are interested. I think it's a Lipton green tea. Oh no, it's not a Lipton green tea. It's some kind of Chinese thing. Although it's probably not actually a Chinese company when I have to think about it, because branding, labeling, marketing, etc., you can make things look whatever you want them to look like. I think this one is actually probably an American company. Okay. Okay, we're still not rendering. The right-click stuff is still working though. So we want to first debug there. Go through. I'm so confused. What had happened? X, Y, Z. Okay. Hit play again. Come down here. Okay, so we're doing our size thing. Okay, what we want to do is in the debugger, I want to go to the block base real quick and take a look at its listener list. Listeners, it's not registered. It found one though. That's the weird part. It actually found something that was registered as a listener for that. Let me look at you real quick again. I mean, it should work. It's set up this way. We're probably having an issue with the builder. And I need to actually test to make sure the builder is running, which is problematic. Now we're going to do, instead of doing it this way, hit play. Oh, come on, I removed the debug line. At least I thought I did. So what we want to do is I want to put a debug line into here and do that real quick. So we're not having to render on the tile, and that means I gotta restart and I gotta see if the listener loads. Means I need to go to the proxy for ICBM and I need to see if the proxy does its thing. So that's where we register the system, and we need to make sure it actually gets registered, and we need to make sure it builds and gets set up on the right tile. I probably misspelled something, which is the reason why it's not working. So it's missile render is the name of the key. Yeah, the build servers are still not running probably. Eventually we're going to move away from Travis, which is what you're seeing popping emails at me. Our build system is actually too complicated to use it, which is unfortunate. Not really. I actually been wanting to move away from Travis for quite a while. It's a cool thing. If you need to test projects, it's great for that. But we have build servers, so that means we can test our project on the build servers. Because what happens is Travis runs and then the build server runs anyway. So if Travis fails, the build server will fail too. So why have two systems fail when you can have one just do everything? Okay, so that's being registered. And I want to check to see really quickly if it lowercases the name. So just it gets listener key, so it does not lowercasing the name. So I'm going to go to lowercase. Because I believe when it comes down in here and we get the ID, yeah, it forces the ID to be lowercased, but then up here we are not forcing the key to be lowercased. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to kill it real quick, and we're going to rerun it. That should fix the issue. I think it's what was causing it not to load. Of course, it's going to queue on here again, so let's really quickly kill that debug point. And we just need to make sure it loads up the listener. The only problem right now is the standard launcher. This system doesn't work for the standard launcher. I'll have to fix that later. The way to fix that is I just need to implement metadata real quick for listeners, and I should be fine. So what it'll be is there'll be some kind of metadata check on the render listener. Or basically there'll be a metadata check on the entire listener system. And we'll do it that way, I guess. I'll work on it. There'll be some handling for it. Because there's two ways to handle this when it comes to listeners. Is I can just check the metadata in the listener itself, or I can implement a new way to load listeners. And I'm leaning towards the second way because of the fact. Actually, we wanna leave that there. This is the one I want to get rid of, but for some reason, every time you click here, it drops a debug screen and then you misclick. So I'm leaning towards the second way because what I can do is I can load the listeners up into the metadata entry. Then I can just modify my iterator to then check for metadata and then grab the listeners from the metadata. That would be more simplistic, because then you're not checking metadata every time you go to call a method. So you're not receiving extra method calls. You're only pulling in listeners that actually belong to that metadata, which is, I'm liking that more, and that's probably what I'm going to implement. The only problem is I need to come up with some way to procedurally get that without being a mess, and the end result is it's probably just going to be a mess. Not too much of a problem, I guess, but eh. Yeah, because doing that way, because the alternative is check the metadata. Now I'm thinking about it, I'm going to have to access the metadata in the world every single time, or cache it, and both are not advisable because then you're delaying your runtime. Because you got to check with the chunk, and you got to do all that stuff, and blarg ba blarg. Just want to get the rendering running right now. If I get the rendering running, then I can progress into more complicated things. Okay, we definitely have a missile in there. The listener is not being ticked at all. So we need to come over here again, and we gotta do our thing, and we just need to go through and see what's happening. Probably that key is not right again. Okay, so if we get our iterator, let's go stare at, well no, we're just gonna take through it real quick. It got some kind of iterator, which means it got something on the first run. So if we go through this, what is that first thing it gets? It basically gets the node is what it grabbed. Because apparently the node is an instance of tile render? No, it's an instance of event listener. Is the reason why it actually gets passed back. But it's not an instance of tile render, and we're not getting the block event, so we're going to have to look to see what's up. Yeah, we still don't have a render listener in here. We got some empties here, so there's a size of 2 in here. Yeah, see the empty key here? Something's wrong. We're getting rotation listener and we're getting render listener both in that empty string for some bizarre reason. Trying to think of what's causing this. I just can't think of what's causing it. Hit play real quick while I think. I got an idea though. So I may not know what directly is causing it, but there's a high possibility. Yeah, it's that bullshit down there. Okay, I gotta close this. Yeah, I did some adjustments to fix some bugs with some different listeners and stuff, and I think I broke these listeners in the process. The way I need to fix this is I gotta go grab this thing, and I gotta go handle it. Yeah, this needs to go here. That means I gotta go fix rotation too, because that's important. And then I gotta go copy this key. This is where this key actually realistically needs to be static somewhere, and it's not. Because now we've got a key that's in several places that may not run properly. But we're gonna check this in a bit. But this should fix it, and then we need to do the same exact thing for the rotation handler. That should be down into the core prefabs. So prefabs, tile, listeners, rotation listener. So this needs to go down here, and yeah. Then I need to go up here in the placement and copy this here. Because what this is basically is if you implement multiple listener events, you have to use this method. And up in the top, we override the default, because this is what the default is. Each interface has a default version of that, but you can't have multiple interfaces that all have the same default method, or they act up. The solution is just to implement the method directly, and it fixes everything. So placement, yeah, that's good. Okay, that should fix our listener. So run it again. I'm trying to think what else I need to really fix here. I mean, we should be good. As soon as we get the rendering working, then we can test to see if it fires, and then making sure it fires and everything. If it's broken, that'll be our next thing. If that's functional, then all I gotta do is run it through some tests to make sure all the GUIs and stuff work, all the interaction still behaves properly. Then I gotta fix the standard launcher. The standard launcher is what's gonna take me a day or two to re-update. And then it's just this really slow crawl to update every tile one at a time. And I'm still not sure if I'm going to make it to my end of the month deadline for updating the 1.8, because we're 10 days now. I have to pull like some magic out of my mystical dev hat here. Because I got to update the entire Volts engine, which I honestly believe like it's only going to take 2 days to update Volts engine. It's just all the other mods that are going to be a pain. If I get enough of ICBM ported to be Minecraft neutral, so it's not really using Minecraft directly or Forge, then it won't be too hard. This is the whole point of doing the tile system, the JSON system, is it's a lot easier to update. There's a lot of other reasons for doing that too, but that makes content development much easier. Makes mod pack developers happy because they can pretty much do whatever they want with my content. They can literally go in and they can make it have bunny faces on it for whatever reason. I'm actually kind of excited to see what mod pack developers will do eventually with the JSON system. However, I know I'm going to take a bit of heat for it because I've essentially recreated MC Creator. If you guys are familiar with that, it's a tool that lets people who have no coding experience make mods, and Volts Engine is turning into that. If you don't have any experience making mods, you actually could make mods. Let's go through here. Yeah, this works now. Come on, debug mode. Quit act. 9. Here we go. It's a works. It's just not in the right spot. And I don't care, monster. The reason why this isn't working properly is we're missing a line of code. A few adjustments I gotta make. Yeah, we're missing this line of code. I must have accidentally deleted it. Or the version I copied didn't have it. There we go. What this line of code does is it gets the height of the missile, divides it by 2, and adjusts the height. So that way your render offset position for your missile is actually in the middle of where the missile renders. And I did not mean to break that. Oh well. So that works. We can see it now. The next test is to see if we can launch it without the game crashing. Because I did update this system, so this system should work. It's not linked. I actually need to fix that. People have been complaining that you can't. I do this, I'm gonna do that. Link code doesn't match. Why is the link code not match? I know exactly why the link code doesn't match. It can't find the interface. Okay, so plan B. Yes, it can detect that launcher. Okay, so I need to then see if I can radar gun, which I don't think I can. Oh, radar gun works. Cool. It's a works, although if you notice clearly it launched one block over for some reason. So it thinks it's right here. That's gonna have to be fixed. That, you know, this being it actually probably launched from this corner right here. I know exactly why that's probably happening. Oh, why you? You're clearly a cake. What happened there? That shouldn't have happened. The missile should have been in the top of the cake. I didn't change any code related to the missile, so that's unusual that it did that. Meaning that's probably a bug that's been in there for a while, and nobody's informed me of it. Let's test that real quick. Oh yeah. Is it always the same side? Yeah, it's always one block north. Not north, south. That's unfortunate. I don't know what broke that, but that's That's sad. It should literally spawn exactly where it's supposed to be. And I'm kind of saddened to want to know what broke that. So one of the coolest things about the cake missile was that it dispensed. You know what's actually even stranger? I wonder, is there a bug? There's not any crash, and I need to test this one more time real quick. So apologies for testing this and not working on the silo or anything else like I said I was going to be doing. Ooh, I shot myself in the foot. Okay. Good, there's no exploit where this will break blocks, so I don't have to worry about that. So it's not something I have to fix right away, but it is something that does need to be fixed. And I'm going to go ahead and make a bug report for that, so I remind myself here later after I get up from trying to get some sleep that there is a bug for this. By the way, you see 82 issues up here. Most of these are not issues, actually. That's an issue. Surprisingly, these are both the same issue, and like most of the rest of these are not actually issues. Most of these are like improvements. So we make a new issue, and we go cake missile, not placing cake at missile. Don't really care for the assignee thing. I just need to do and property. One important thing if you're developing on your own mods and you find a bug, submit it to your tracker if you don't plan to fix it right away, for the very reason that if you release a mod and you forgot to fix that, somebody's going to report that bug, but if they go and they see that you've already noted that bug exists, then you don't have to worry about it, in theory. So we're going to fix the launching location real quick. It's a really quick bug fix. I'm going to close all of these because we know all this works now. Close that. And I then need to brain for a couple seconds. It's not actually what I need to do. Brain is really sluggish right now. Okay, so the get missile offset location is not appropriate. And there's a method in here somewhere. So what's going on is it's grabbing the X location, the Y location is something else. So there's a start position, there's get launcher offset, and these two need to be 0. That should fix it. So let's get, you know what, I need to make the microwave missile destroy slimes. I'm going to really quickly make an issue ticket for that. No, I did not want to make a new repository. Brain cells today. As a note, if you're a developer, sleep is important. If you don't get sleep, you're going to mess up. Slime, squid, etc. And this is a enhancement, and then this is low priority. Sweet. Remind myself to do that later. Okay, so we want to test this against. I want to do actually a shrapnel. Fire. Okay, perfect. Yeah, perfect down the center. So the tile node system is actually designed that instead of, so say if your location was 0, 0, 0, for a block, it's actually 0 0.5, 0 0.5, 0 0.5 is where the node thinks it's at. This is important because it actually adjusts for centering on entities. So if I have an entity which is actually at 0. Actually, no, it's screwing an entity up, but eh. Man, yeah. You know, I fixed the circle path thing in one of my earlier videos, and you can clearly see it works now, because we get a nice circular spread of arrows out of that. And I added randomization on fire. Oh, so nice. It's going to be even cooler is when we get to newer versions of Minecraft where they have the potion arrows and stuff, and be able to randomize potion arrows. It's like so many cool things we're going to be able to do. So anyways, that's the end of the video. So the silos work now. They're functional. There's a lot more work I got to do on them before I make a release, but I'm hoping sometime either this week or the beginning of next week, I can get this out for you guys. Unfortunately, because I started on this, I didn't get you guys a release of this last week, even though we got all of our build servers up and we actually have been pushing mods to Curse. I know Torhall and a few other the Curse mod developers have been a little less happy with us because when we push builds, we push like 20 at the same time. And they're like, oh, we have to go review 20 of your mods in one go. It's like, just auto-approve us at this point. We're clearly a trustworthy partner. Actually, we're not partnered with them, but we're a trustworthy mod developer group. But yeah, that's good. So just got to get this working, and then we're going to have to start converting this stuff to tile node system. And then once I get everything converted to the tile node system, the next step is to make a new world wrapper. So then we're going to wrap everything to a world wrapper, which will get rid of our iBlock access, by the way, because we're going to fake it out with a world wrapper. No, actually, we're not going to fake it out with... No, we are going to fake it with a world wrapper, but there's a really special handling to it. I'll get to that later.